take their seats.
My backpack. You moved me.
I give you a few minutes to hugs, to say hello for those who are familiar. FWG member, could you please text that we should start? Because some of us are outside the room.
So one technical.
That's why I said we need another photo session. Now it's coming. You want to take a cover? Yes, we have cover. I'll call my colleague to come after me. Okay?
Benjamin, Rafik, please take your seat. Hello, everyone. It's really nice to see new faces. We are happy that with the support of the incoming presidency and secretariat and my distinguished co-chair, IP co-chair, Janine, you are here. Okay, I will speak something just to check that we have translation. The first question, do we have Russian translation? Yes, we have Russian translation. Do we have French translation? Graham, do you have French translation? Yeah, okay, that's cool. Do we have Spanish translation? Portuguese, okay. And kind remind that here fonts, this part should be free, because otherwise it will be very, very poor quality of translation. So do we have Portuguese? No? No, okay. So the problem with translation have two sides. One very technical with the gadget, another with channel. So we have problem with channel or with... Huh? Тест 1, 2, 3. Есть ли у нас перевод?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we have translation?
Do we have a translation or interpretation? I see that we don't have Portuguese interpretation. One, two, three, we have a Portuguese interpretation. Here, I would like once again to express gratitude for the extra interpretation to Portuguese. Thank you, incoming COP presidency. So now, let's go to the agenda item 8, which is preparation for COP30. It means that during the COP30, we have a list of mandated LCIPP activities. May I have the next slide? And here, I would like to invite the Secretariat to make an overview.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. What you see on the slide is this is regionally nominated knowledge holders. We received 19 nominations out of 21. There are two groups of nominations, as you see, the regionally nominated indigenous peoples knowledge holders and the local knowledge holders and the practitioners from local communities. We received 9 out of the 21. That's 3 from each of the regions. So you see on the screen here. And if you can go to the next slide, this is the schedule of the event. And actually, I want to see if my colleague wanted to add anything. Okay. If we can go to the next slide. So these are the mandated event under the Baku work plan. No, the slide before, thank you, yeah. There are 4 mandated events under the Baku work plan. Baku work plan is organized around what is known as the collective approaches. So under collective approach 1, there's an annual gathering of knowledge holders, and then there's a dialogue where it provides an opportunity to share the outcomes from the dialogue, the gathering in that dialogue. There's another mandated event under collective approaches 3 that is called the 7th generation roundtable, and there's also a dialogue under the same collective approach which provides a space to share the outcomes from that roundtable dialogue. And so with that, I hand the mic back to Madam Co-Chair because I believe the co-leads will provide all the details.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now we will go to the next slide. Yes. So in collective approach 1, we have 2 very important mandated events. One is annual gathering, and this year it will be the 5th meeting of knowledge holders. And I would like to invite my colleagues, Slava, Victoria, me, and Itisak, to comment on the sharing circles.
Let's start from the first sharing circle. Yes. and the theme of my sharing circle is collective, holistic ambition, collective pathways rooted in ancestral and living knowledge. And we invite 6 knowledge holders to be speakers on our sharing circle. The first of them, Geneva Toure, Africa, Rande Sakamana Bayate, Asia, GTE, Asia Pacific, Raymond Minicam, the Pacific, Crisi Ordonez Garcia, Central and South America and the Caribbean, and Valeria Bolgova, which represents Central and Eastern Europe, Russian Federation, Central Asia, and Transcaucasia. And the main issues which we discussed with indigenous worldviews, values, and knowledge systems, and local knowledge built through long histories of interaction with nature, offer a foundation for holistic climate action. But we invite not to speak on our round table, not only these 6 persons. Each guest can come to our sharing circle, take part, and make a report and take part in our open dialogue on our theme. Thank you. And the next sharing circle 2 is guided, moderated by the Victoria. Victoria, please.
Yes, thank you. Now you know about me that I actually have quite bad eyes. So if I'm going to read, I have to get a bit closer. So the second sharing circle is in relation to a lot of the connections that are between climate and biodiversity. So a lot of the connections and coherence that we see between the UNFCCC and the Convention on Biological Diversity. Here, the title is Holistic Resilience and Stewardship, Weaving Human Well-Being, Ecosystems, and Intergenerational Responsibility. And this has a lot to do also in recognizing that both indigenous peoples and local communities on this floor here have talked about how inseparable issues of climate and biodiversity are. We have 6 knowledge holders here. There was an additional, but not all of our knowledge holders were able to travel, as was presented earlier in the slide. And just to let you know, so that if you attend the mandated event where the knowledge holders will be sharing, these are their names so that you have a little bit more familiarity with them when you hear from them again. We have knowledge holders from Africa, Asia, the Asia Pacific, Eastern Europe, Central and South America, and the Caribbean, and the Central and Eastern Europe, Russia Federation, Central Asia, and Transcaucasia. The way that we've framed some of the questions related to this section include indigenous knowledge and local knowledge systems teach that resilience is holistic, grounded in the balance between human well-being, healthy ecosystems, and responsibilities to future generations. For indigenous peoples and local communities, climate and biodiversity are inseparable, shaping cultural practices, ways of life, and systems of stewardship. These perspectives can teach us that global processes cannot be approached in isolation, rather that their synergies must be taken into consideration to create a resilient world. And I will help to moderate this section right before the lunch period on the 11th. Thanks.
Victoria, thank you very much. Let's go to the sharing circle 3. I will moderate this sharing circle, which is holistic transition, guided by relationships and responsibilities and equity. Here we have also 6 invited knowledge holders who will invited to speak. Amirkhan Varayev from Eastern Europe, Chechnya, De Vele Dia, Africa, Jader Ivan Mendoza Leves, Central and South America and Caribbean, Margarita Holemay, the Pacific, Mohsen Soleimani, Asia Pacific, Niels Per Olof Nuti, the Arctic. As key topics for these sharing circles, we decided to reflect the current reality and speak and reflect on how AI can impact our lands, our style of life, and also we will reflect on how renewable energy can improve the comfort of our day-to-day life. I kindly invite those who was invited to speak on this sharing circle to send presentations to make the seamless section, to make rich discussion and sharing reflection. Thank you. Let's go to the next sharing circle. Kitisak.
Okay, thank you, Madam Co-Chair. I will be sharing the circle number 4. The title is Holistic Future, Nurturing Generation Through Change. Actually, it is focusing on the young generations because, as you know, the impact of climate change also causes a lot of anxiety to the young people, and how this kind of value system worldview can also help the young people to deal with this kind of situations. Like the other sharing circles, we also have the expert or the knowledge holders from different regions to speak. So we have Central Eastern Europe, Russian Federation, Central Asia and Transcaucasia, the Pacific, Africa, Arctic, Asia, and Eastern Europe. So you can see the name there. So I think that's actually this session also follow from the previous sessions, and then we can conclude at the end about the young people, how they are going to share their perspective on this issue. I think this, the last session is also important to highlight the young generation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now you maybe have questions to the moderators of these sharing circles. I will open the floor a little bit later when we will have the full overview of all mandated events. Regarding the annual gathering of knowledge holder, this is some kind of internal meeting for all knowledge holder. And of course we have invited speakers. However, we will do our best to moderate this event in such a manner that other knowledge holder might be able to intervene and reflect and ask the question. So now we will go to the next mandated event in Collective Approach 1, which is annual dialogue for indigenous peoples, local communities, parties, constituted bodies, work streams, and other contributors. Please feel free to use your smartphones and have an access to the information regarding the Collective Approach 1. Yes, and kind remind that the annual theme is for local communities, indigenous people platform is ambitious and just climate action rooted in holistic stewardship. This annual dialogue will be open with invocation and remarks from incoming COP30 presidency. Then we will create the exchange space to strengthen the collective response to climate change and restore the integrity of nature. This session will be organized as 4 exchange spaces, each dedicated to one of the topics of the sharing circle. And then at 15, we will close the event with participation of party and constituted bodies. Let's go to the next mandated event. As a part of Collective Approach 3, we have two mandated events. First one is the annual 7th Generation Roundtable. The second is the annual intergenerational dialogue. I would invite one of colleagues, or maybe all of colleagues, to comment on these events.
Yes, thank you, Madam Co-Chair. I did want to note that these two events are very complementary. The annual gathering of knowledge holders, and then afterwards the annual 7th Generation Roundtable. Also noting that it didn't used to be the 7th Generation Roundtable. It was originally conceptualized as the Youth Roundtable, but it has since evolved to include the intergenerational aspects, because of course we want to uplift and empower our youth, but in terms of our knowledges and our practices, of course we need our elders, we need other experienced people. So now the focus is for the first time on more this intergenerational exchange, and the 7th generation principle, which we've talked about before here on this stage, is very specific to ensuring that we are thinking very long-term ahead to all of our descendants that will come after us, and ensure that we are acting in a way that has accountability to them in the future. Is the translation okay? Okay. Yeah. So on the 12th, it will be a little bit different format than for the... It's bad. Okay. Can we... Agrafina? I'm getting indications from the audience that the translation might be bad.
Which language we have as problematic? So we have troubles with Portugal channel of interpretation. I'm speaking for the sake to understand when we will have it's still no interpreter. Ah, the signal is bad. Okay. I kindly ask the technical team to help us to resolve this problem.
We will keep talking to test the audio. It's working now, right?
Okay? Okay, that's cool. Thank you very much for giving the signs. Thank you very much, Victoria, for giving the overview. Okay, please follow.
Sorry, I was mid-sentence. So the format is a bit different than the annual gathering. At the annual gathering, we will primarily hear from the knowledge holders to the rest of us sitting in the room. But for the 7th Generation Roundtable, we will have in the beginning a story circle that will allow for the knowledge holders to share stories and experiences that they have intergenerational components. But then we will break out into breakout groups to give the opportunity for more chance for youth and other knowledge holders to talk with each other about the important aspects of intergenerational exchange for knowledge and practices. And then on the 13th, similar to how we will have a dialogue with the parties for the annual gathering, we will also have a dialogue with the parties on the 7th Generation Roundtable. And this will also, of course, include the same breakout kind of group dialogues that will enable the knowledge holders and other participants in the room to be able to speak directly with party members and others that attend the event. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have only one colleague who made the whole overview, yes? For CA3. We don't have another colleague who can add. Okay. So let me now open the floor for participants and especially for knowledge holder who invited to speak. Please start your intervention telling your name, your region. Please feel free to ask or maybe to reflect, to introduce yourself. Also, I understand that not all knowledge holders are in the room. Some of them, yes, please take your way to the mic. Some of knowledge holders are still on the way to the COP. Thank you very much, Grandma, for starting.
LCIPP, good morning. First of all, I want to do a land acknowledgement. I want to thank the ancestors of this land for allowing us to set our feet and our thoughts on your territories. So I humbly ask your ancestors, from my ancestors, if you allow me to speak freely. I didn't think they would object. Chief Nimuwana, my family is right sitting here, so I'm very honored to speak on their territory. As a wisdom keeper and a knowledge holder, an indigenous knowledge holder from my territories, is that I think it's really important that when we reflect in this arena where our feet don't belong, is to be mindful of those four elements. Water. We speak of water because it's in us. It's in our tree trunks. It's in our plants. It's in the moisture in the air. So when we speak of something in each other's territory that is based around agriculture, we have to be mindful of the basics. We have to speak about air because this is the wind that brings our ancestral tongues forward. We have to be mindful of that breath that is of the oneness of Mother Earth. We also have to be mindful of the fire that our grandfather, the sun, warms us with. We also have to be mindful of the greatest, and that's Mother Earth, that gives us residency here within her space. You see, most people I hear talk about college words, words that were never meant to be from our tongue. They create greed and menace out of the need that we all need to live here with. So when you speak of knowledge holders, it's very important that you stand within the space, because if you create and want to be heard, to be acknowledged as the me, you will weaken the we in us as indigenous peoples and also local communities. We are the original gardeners, and we cannot falter. We cannot falter from doing any damage to it as we are now doing today. The thirst of our water I found that they are going to charge a lot of money for a bottle of water that has no life in it here in this space. We have to be mindful that everything has a spirit. And when you remove that spirit from that entity, it means nothing. You're harvesting nothing. So be very mindful when you speak in the spaces. We are coming from our territories, but be mindful. This earth is what connects us. This water is what connects us. This air is what connects us. This fire is what connects us. So think when you speak of that ancestral knowledge, because that's the link from the past that is going to keep us going to the future. If you break that link to satisfy greed of that dollar, you will sever nations and your ancestors will weep. So be mindful, this is what we speak about. We said early prayers this morning as we came here. We had night visions of what was to come within these next 14 days that's ahead of us. We've seen the turmoil. We've seen the weak rise from that turmoil. We witnessed it here in this space. Who is it us to keep our relatives and our ancestors from a doorway of a home that they welcome us into? And magic happened because Creator works magic. And here we sit amongst one another. So what I'm saying as an elder, probably the oldest one in here, right? It makes me happy because at a time there was only a handful and now we have 7 regions. We are waking up to this naughtiness and are bringing our ancestral voices forward. So when we move in this space, let's make them smile, because when they smile, we smile. We can walk within the radiance of where we came from and bring light to the darkness where we're walking into. Chimigwech.
Thank you very much, Grandma Johanna. Please. take the
Greeting.
floor.
Oh, gosh. Let me move this. Short people. Hey. Greetings. My name is Michael Lane. I'm with the Indigenous Environmental Network as Indigenous Sovereignty Advocate. And some of you may have noted there were no North Americans listed on that list. There's a reason for that. We do have 3 knowledge holders that we as the North American Caucus have selected. But we decided not to go through the UNFCCC process, but we certainly want them to participate in what's happening during Knowledge Holder Week. The reason we did not select them through the UNFCCC process, besides the accommodation issue, is because we were concerned that the Secretariat had asked nation states to designate local community knowledge holders. I can tell you, in the last 5 days, we have been in communication and dialogue with local community representatives. And they're kind of concerned too. So we have to address the elephant in the room, which is who determines who represents local communities? Is it nation states or is it local communities? That is a concern because it impacts us as indigenous peoples as well. So in the knowledge holder gathering, it's really important to understand why we did not include 3 North American knowledge holders to the UNFCCC process or the FWG process, but we certainly expect them to be accepted and welcomed, because one of them is going to be great-grandmother Mary Lyons. And so however we resolve this other issue, it should also be acknowledged that there are knowledge holders from North America that have valid things to contribute, and we're hoping that they will not be excluded from this process. The other issue that's come up is how is the information that's going to be provided by all the knowledge holders going to be protected? How is it going to be used? And who's going to determine how it's used? It's been an ongoing question for each of the COPs. And yet we have not reached a resolution. It was through this process is why IN first introduced a submission to have an ethical protocol for the protection and use of traditional indigenous knowledge. We are grateful that it was included in the work plan, but there seem to have been some misunderstandings about it. And one of those misunderstandings is it was intended for indigenous peoples because we're an indigenous peoples organization. We also see that it is useful for local communities, and in that dialogue with local communities, we also see the need for the ethical protocol for the protection of local knowledge that's contributed from traditional communities, pastoralists, etc. And we fully support, as IN, I can't speak for the Indigenous Peoples Caucus, but as IN, we fully support an ethical protocol, and we've heard that as from a number of different regions, the need for 2 ethical protocols, and I think there was a misunderstanding in the Baku work plan. So we're grateful that they're going to address this misunderstanding and facilitate what's coming from the floor is the need for 2 ethical protocols to protect the very knowledge that we're talking about coming from these knowledge holders. We don't want these knowledge holders' words to be lost in a report and not have voice in the substa or COP level. The intent of creating this FWG and having these knowledge holder gatherings to ensure that that voice was at the COP level and making decisions regarding climate change. Right now, we don't really see that happening. We see it getting, how do you call it, bottlenecked. And so it is a concern, and we're naming the concern. Will there be a resolution today? Probably not, and we don't expect that to happen today. But we really want to put it out there on the table. These are serious concerns that have not yet been addressed, and we're hoping that we will start seeing progress in resolving the important contributions of knowledge holders to this process that, on the one hand, is embraced on a local level, but in terms of local being FWG in the first 5 days of COP, but not necessarily being embraced by the parties through bureaucratic processes. And I'm not sure how those bureaucratic processes work, Secretariat, COP, all that, substa and all that. We know they're there. Sometimes it's a mystery to all of us, including those involved in it. But at the same time, we have to find a way for the voices of people like Great Grandmother Mary Lyons, the knowledge holders here, the local community knowledge holders, that their voices actually make a difference. So it's kind of an impassioned plea. So let's not get caught up in bureaucratic frameworks to oppose what we're trying to advocate for. Let's facilitate a working group, the voices that you hear regarding this to ensure that those voices are actually being heard in the Secretariat, in the substa, and in the COP level. Oh, Paso, Miigwech.
Michael, thank you very much. Yes, I see now intervention from this side of the room. I'm sorry, I guess that you was the second. First, the man in black hand, then, yes.
Gracias. Mi nombre es Gustavo Sánchez.
Thank you very much. My name is Gustavo Sanchez. I am the president of the Mexican Network of Peasant Organizations or Peasant Forestry Organizations. I am a secretary of the board of directors of the Mesoamerican Alliance of Peoples and Forests. Both organizations bring together indigenous peoples and local communities on this very important issue that is knowledge holders and the transmission of knowledge to future generations, that ancestral knowledge. I am very inspired by the words of the participant who spoke before me and what was raised by our friend Michael Lane regarding the issue of how can we determine who are the knowledge holders for local communities participating in these spaces? Or who is going to determine that? On the 14th session of the FWG for the LCIPP, we announced that the diverse organizations of local communities will have tomorrow a constitutive session for a caucus of local communities at the international level. Hopefully, in the future, this space can be taken into consideration to nominate and appoint representatives and spokespeople to come to these and other spaces. I also would like to point out that we are extending our hand to all indigenous peoples so that together we can promote and uphold a stronger voice in different spaces of the convention. We recognize and respect the identity of everyone and each of you, so we ask for the same treatment towards us. But I think we can set aside our differences and build on what we have in common. We can build on that. We can also face common challenges, and I would like to leave it as a question. How are these representatives appointed at this time from local communities? But not only now, the most important thing is to look to the future and don't get stuck in what already happened. Hopefully, this new space that we will formalize tomorrow will be taken into consideration because it's been a while and we've been working on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please take the floor.
House. Secão, Rony Queen. Primeiro de tudo, quero agradecer o grande espírito.
First of all, I would like to thank the great spirit of Ushibu. I am Honekuim Balawa Inubakan, son of Onça Conjiboia. For me, it's very gratifying, and I'm very happy to be participating in this COP. Currently, I am the representative of the Center of Spiritual Concentration of the Forest of Shibu. I represent the Pajés of the Unicuim region. And our coming here is to thank the presence and spirit of each person that is present here on this land. And the reason for us being here is because our spirituality, these are the seeds that are sowed, the roots, and where we live and exist. And within the forest where we live, we are here to thank the world. Because the changes in our ancestors' times were different, and today is also different. This is why we, the original native people, are here present to tell the world that we still exist, that we still have a lot to learn, but also a lot to teach. I would like to express my gratitude to everyone.
Thank you. Please take the mic.
House. Bom dia a todos.
Good morning, everyone. I am Pasiki Onamawa Kunui. I am from the Amazon region in Brazil, from the state of Acre. We have a delegation here of 14 different peoples. Most of them are young people. And I would like to thank the platform for putting this topic in the center of discussion, this topic that is fundamental, which is the recognition of ancestral knowledge and wisdom. And one of our topics in COP30 is to leave this message and convey it to the world that the future is ancestral. Our future has already been proven to be ancestral. And the changes that are occurring, the destruction that is being brought into our territories, are trying to extinguish our history and trying to extinguish this knowledge that keeps the balance of this planet and that are mainly upheld by the indigenous peoples and local communities. The recognition is already ancestral. When the Great Spirit created us, it already left us in a relationship with nature that is inseparable, so that we can self-recognize. We have to make everyone understand and respect this, because respect is necessary. We need to respect ancestral knowledge, not only because or through a platform or a seminar. Everyone, the entire planet, must have this awareness. The re-education for humanity is urgent. There isn't, nor will there be, a future without ancestrality. And to defend these holders of knowledge is an obligation of each and every one of us.
Thank you very much. I see intervention from this side first, then, but please don't sit down. I kindly invite you to stay in line, and we can see how many interventions we have. Please stay in line, because it's important for the moderation that we see how many interventions we have. We really want to give the floor to all who wants. However, we have a limited timeline. So we have 1, 2, 3. I showed that Valeria was ready. 3, 4, 5. And please, kind remind that if you speak more than 5 or maybe 10 minutes, it means that those who after you maybe might not be able to intervene. Yes, thank you. So, okay?
Bom dia a todos e todas.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ijinalva. I'm the Vice Coordinator of MIXCB. I live in the state of Tocantins. And I'm here to talk as a representative of the indigenous peoples from the entire country of Brazil, and also the non-indigenous peoples from Brazil and outside. In the beginning of this activity of the 4th of November, we experienced the murder of 2 women. Today, this event is ending, and we just got a piece of news that a man was murdered, a farmer in the municipality of Pixirunha, here in the state of Pará. And so what I want to say is that to fight for climate change also means to fight in defense of life, land, and in defense of social justice. Because we have to be concerned also with the lives of human beings. It is inadmissible to have 4 days of an event where 3 people are murdered. This concerns us deeply because we are only in the beginning stages of COP30 in Belém, in Pará, and 3 people have already been murdered, and this is very concerning. We have to see it from another perspective as well, justice for those that truly need it. We, farmers and indigenous peoples, need to have this protection because when we leave our houses to go to work, struggling for our survival, and on the road, on the path, or on the location where we work, we are murdered, and we need this COP to have a better or provide a better future and pathway for humankind in general. Thank you very much.
So the next intervention from this side.
Oi.
Sorry, this side. So we have 2 lines and
Buenos días, Sakriki Wonogen, Nashin Kwashin, Kalentaktuk.
Good morning. I am the coordinator of the Rights and Culture area of the Mesoamerican Alliance of People and Forests, Pueblos y Bosques, and I am here today because I am also an indigenous authority of the Quiche people of Santa Lucia in Guatemala. And I have a couple of recommendations to share, and I would like to urge you to reflection, not only to the members of the FWG, but every one of us present here today, because I believe that we share a huge responsibility. And I say that also in my role as an authority of a Mayan people. The Mayan people in Mesoamerica has proven that there have been great scientific contributions, not only in medicine and science, but also in terms of agriculture and many other aspects, such as mathematics and arithmetics. Why am I saying that? Because one of our biggest concerns is that we're talking about knowledge holders. And I believe that we need to think of privileging as well democracy for every one of us in indigenous peoples, how we choose our knowledge holders. Who are they? What is the process for determining who are the ones empowered to share and convey our knowledge? We've discussed the risks of sharing this knowledge, and some peoples, for instance, have prevented us from discussing that knowledge. Despite being an authority, I'm not authorized to discuss certain topics because there's a care, there's a protection that we need to have for every one of those knowledges. And we are concerned about that because this knowledge is then used for commercial purposes. There are new consultants, there's the academia coming to teach us about agroecology when that already existed, and it was us that shared those principles in the first place. So we need to find a way to guarantee the protection of the intellectual knowledge and the intellectual property of our peoples. And we also need to make sure that everyone that speaks on our behalf also have that legitimacy and they are authorized by our peoples to discuss that knowledge. That is why I want to urge the facilitating working group to facilitate democratic, transparent processes to appoint these persons that are actually legitimized to share our ancestral knowledges and practices in terms of climate change. And I have yet another petition. I would like to request the facilitating working group so that there is a duality in our world vision for the Mayan people. We also need to balance the Nan and the Tat, men and women, in through a dual approach, because our world vision is different from the rest of humanity, but it supplements it. So that is a further request that I have, but I would like to make sure that it's not only a recommendation. And I would like to celebrate that we are also working on abandoning practices that have caused more damage than good. Thank you very much.
I now give the floor to you and then to the virtual participant.
Haharam. Então, em primeiro lugar, quero aqui saudar.
First of all, I'd like to salute Mother Earth, nature, spirituality. On behalf of all the people, all human beings, men and women who are gathered here from all nations, all native indigenous peoples, from the ancestor forests, from these lands, this continent, which is today known as the South American continent, through invasion, through colonization. That is how it's named. As a human being, as a person, I come from the Horikui people, from the forest, from the north of Brazil, this colonial country in which we all live together today. I hail from the state of Acre, from the Imiquing territory, one of the territories in which we have in the last 30 years repeatedly asked for demarcation. In fact, we want our land to be given back to us. It was taken from us, and our main goal here is to defend the demarcation of our lands. For 525 years, we have suffered invasion in Brazil, illegal exploration of our lands, destruction, slash and burn practices in our forests, the destruction of our fauna, our water sources, our flora, our lives, our rights, our natural given rights, which are not given by through the hand of man nor women. In fact, these are attributed by people who explore agribusiness, men and women who are looking for financial gains and who stand against us. As a person today, I here am one of the chiefs from the territorial sources from my village and with other chiefs from other territory-based village representatives. I'm also executive secretary from the Center of Spiritual Concentration of the Forests of the Xingu territory, who looks for the respect of our traditional cultural manifestations, such as celebrations, especially for the forest that I represent. I am here today saying that our objective, our goal is collective, universal, bringing together all of the regions and territories within Brazil. We live together today, and also humanity, our Mother Earth, whom we must defend as regards climate change, as regards also this instance of the COP and to speak about the impacts that we suffered, which is the invasion, corruption, violation, appropriation, and withdrawal of our rights by third parties, by the Brazilian governments, by local governments, politicians, managers, especially those who are anti-democratic in practice. In our Congress houses today, laws are approved and we are not asked about them. Not all peoples today from this continent are heard, and specifically, not only from my territory in Omiquim, we have our own specific protocols, our own statute for the Federation of our Iroquois people. We have our own management in terms of territory, governance of our villages, and we have come here collectively with other original peoples from Brazil's indigenous peoples to give you a message. Our collective message is we exist. We want to be recognized. We want to be included in the protection laws for our lives, our territories. We want to be respected. We wanted our millenary traditions to be respected. We were here before any other human beings came here from other continents, from other countries, nations, cultures, other governments who do not recognize us, our governance. We were here before the year 1500 AC, and today we're seen as invaders. We're seen as an impact towards the destruction of humanity. Climate change. Today, we're in the hottest city in Brazil. Heat increases every year. Destruction increases every year. We're never heard. We're never asked for our opinions when laws are passed. In terms of land demarcation, the Brazilian government had a deadline of 1993 to regulate our laws. And why do I say that? Because today we're speaking about people who work with human rights, people of good faith. If you're here to support us, then we're here to ask you for support. We want our lands back. This is our main goal. Without demarcation, without the regularization of lands, without the expulsion of people who have occupied our lands in bad faith, there is no preservation of flora, fauna, life, and the rights of people, human beings, and all living beings of all humanity, of everyone on planet Earth, especially our water sources. Here in Brazil, the destruction has come to a certain halt, but now they're dumping poison. They no longer do slash and burn, but they're dumping poison where people have slashed and burned but have not planted anything. Now they're dumping poison on the ground to poison the plants, poisoning our water, our drinking water. And if authorities, executive, legislative, judiciary, legal, religious, ecclesiastic authorities, spiritual authorities are not wise to this, they do not know this, then nothing will happen. We're not here to make stories up. We are here speaking to you in person, in truth, in spirit and matter, to say we come from ancestors. We deserve respect as we respect those who came from elsewhere. Those who came here to bring us harm, destroy our lands, our forests, our spirits, our ancestral spirits. And we want to ask that we must practice our culture, speak our language, do our own governance and management, and keep on with our spiritual, natural, indigenous lives without anyone trying to hinder us. The same way we respect the religions and science and governments, we also demand respect. That is what I wanted to say. As a human being, as a person, I'm here to speak of nations, of people, to speak of I'm not going to be speaking of ethnicities, Indians, indigenous peoples. I'm speaking here to the United Nations because we are nations, we are peoples. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, as I mentioned before, I will give the floor to the virtual participant. And before virtual participant will step in, I would like to kindly remind that one sign of respect is respect to those who also want to have the opportunity for the voice. So now let us hear virtual intervention. Do we still have this participant? So for the sake not losing the time, please step in.
Oui, Madame Rousseau.
Tashidele.
Oui.
I'm Tashi Lomo Sherpa from Everest region, Nepal. We have many mountains and many lakes. Nowadays, increasing the temperature day by day, that we have a problem of the lake outburst flood. You also heard that last year we have one case that in Thami area, which is in our municipality, that flood affected the one of the historical place, which is the born place of the Tenzing Norgay, Sherpa, and many world recorder Sherpa people. So this place is now that will be displaced because still now they cannot get any kind of the relief that we local government, that I want to address this thing that in our local government that we want to support them, but the national level policy that it's very difficult to implement that our local government. That if we want to re-establish them and then want to give them some fund, but national level policy is very difficult. So in the mountain area, like Sherpa community, that we indigenous people, we protect, we have a big contribution since long time to protect the lake, protect the jungle environment, all kind of that from our religion side, cultural side, that we have a big contribution. But in mountain area, that we have one problem is that mountain people is nearby the Tibet. So there is in national level no mountain people. There is always the issue about the mountain, but there is no issue rise about the mountain community and mountain people. So I hope that this kind of the platform will help that we don't have resources. We don't have a big financial resources, technical resources. So if this platform will rise this kind of the highlight about the mountain and mountain community, mountain people, I think this will support for our national level and then with community level also. So that I want to address this. We have a geographical. We have a diversity geographical area, so there is a not same rule applies in same place. So still now there is a very cold, but the people who living in Thame area, who are living since long time, they have a good cultural, good religious, but after this lake outburst flood, they have to go away in foreign country and then another place for the job, and then they have to take away their family, and they all are in different parts. So it will affect their cultural and then religion, and then their children also speak the Sherpa language, but nowadays they are in different area. So it will affect their cultural and then their language and then all kind of that problem. So I want to request this platform will support us to raise highlight about the mountain community. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. I was informed that online participants is still ready to speak. So now, Amina, could you please intervene? I repeat, online intervention from Amina. Then this side.
Bonjour, je salue tous ceux qui sont déjà à Belém, mais je souhaite
Good
bon
morning.
voyage aussi à nous autres.
Greetings to everyone in Belém and all of us who are on our way. We hope to see you very soon. I am one of the 3 representatives from the Africa region, and I can tell you that I'm going there with a bit of a fear and apprehension, and also a lot of data, because we will be there in order to represent one of the biggest continents, Africa, with 5 sub-regions. So it's a huge responsibility for us. We are not elitists, but I think that knowledge holders have a moral responsibilities towards those in the continents, but also for those who have not been able to make the trip. Knowledge, is multidimensional. There are a lot of knowledges. So those values holders, those indigenous peoples, are holders of participativity and living together, and they are respect holders also. So our participation and our commitment will have to do with this supreme goal to make that movement known and to bring a part of all those who are share those same considerations without any discriminations. Our knowledges will be there in order to be transferred to future generations, in order to build a world in which everybody will have its place and will be able to raise its voice. And so, yes, we will be there to represent regions, but you will not hear our voices because our goal will be much greater, actually. We will try to make sure that our voices will be everybody's voices. So thank you to every one of you. We hope that spirituality will be there, respect will be there for a better world. Thank you.
Thank you. I now give the floor to this side.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mariano Makushi from the Indigenous Association from the state of Roraima. I represent 72 indigenous peoples in my state. We are here today preparing for COP, where many of our leaders will be able to participate. We know that today we have COP ongoing due to the climate crises, and it's been proven that the indigenous peoples around the world are 80% of the environment preservation where many of these activities happen in our territories. So we use our ancestral knowledge and our traditional knowledge to continue fighting in benefit of our rights, especially as well of our territory, where the demarcation is one of the solutions for us to contribute to our earth, because we know that the indigenous peoples work through their ways of life and the adaptation plans and also the implementations to reforest and recover the forest in the places that have already been degraded, and also in places where trees have never grown. And we have an adaptation plan to climate change. And so we are here to say that we, the indigenous peoples, are committed to contribute to our planet Earth through our commitment and working on the preservation of the environment. And the illegal mining activities and the oil exploration that has been affecting our lands, and large-scale soybeans plantations, and the pollution that is affecting our rivers and land is very sad. And it's also sad to see the Brazilian parliament creating various bills of law to authorize and to receive environmental licensing and the devastation project that has the aim to destroy our forests, rivers, to be able to have these large companies destroy our forests. And so we're here to bring the message to the world and to the leaders that will go through the negotiations to stop financing these large landowners and companies that have come here to destroy our territory and pollute our environment. And all of these policies are incentivizing invasions into our territory, and the indigenous peoples are being victims of this great persecution. Our people are being killed, murdered, and expelled from the territories through bills of laws and various types of invasions. So we are here to reiterate our commitment as indigenous people and to use our ancestral knowledge and our culture and our cultural diversity to say that we need more and more the demarcation of our territory, because we, the indigenous people, know how to preserve our forest, and we will continue to do so. And we are on the front lines of defense. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we have free intervention from this side and one from this. We do want to give the floor to all who wants to intervene. We have already removed one agenda item to the after lunch time. So I kindly remind that as per adopted agenda, we have lunchtime at 20:30. However, we will sit here until you want to intervene. Please take the floor.
Good morning, everyone. I am Quilombola from the Brazilian Maroon community. I'm Brazilian, and I'm here to thank the platform for recognizing the ancestral knowledge and how this can teach the world of how we live collectively without degrading the environment. We, the Maroon communities, are present in 25 states in our country. We are present in all biomes of our country: the Amazon, the Brazilian savanna, the Caatinga, the Atlantic forest. And everywhere in these locations, nature is preserved, even without us receiving the land rights of many of our territories. And this is something that we request from the UN to help guide our governing bodies we need to have the land rights to our territories to guarantee preservation of the rivers, the forests, and the waters. And so I would like to once again thank you for the recognition of ancestral knowledge that will be able to contribute a lot to the world community. Thank you.
Thank you, Al Hassan. Please take the floor.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to also contribute to what is being discussed this morning. I am Alassane Jaoji, representing pastoralists from West Africa, and I'm from Nigeria. For us, the pastoralists, we feel before even the issue of climate change, becomes an issue globally, we've been practicing ways of stabilizing our own environments. The issue of mobility to pastoralists, all the discussions this morning where people are talking about land and land, pastoralists have had some strategies of how, to mitigate the effect of land degradation and all that through the mobility. So mobility for livestock is not a fashion, but it's a strategy for survival, and also giving the environment the time, to rejuvenate. You go to all the savannas in the world, this is what is being practiced, the mobility of livestock. Some will move from the high mountains to the low mountains, and then from the low mountains to the high mountains. And some will move from the arid or the Sahel zone, like in West Africa, to the Savannah zone, and then from the Savannah zone back to the Sahelian zone. If you go to East Africa, it's the same thing. And we see even the wildlife in East Africa, they don't understand this English we are speaking here, or the languages we are speaking. But the animals know that this is the time for them to migrate from one location to the other, to adapt to the climatic change. And unfortunately, now, we don't want to understand the language, or we don't even appreciate the knowledge and also the science that these animals are giving us, that we need to preserve the environment. So if animals can think and act, why is it that human beings, we say we are at the top of the biological hierarchy, that we can think and also decide and change our minds. We cannot, adapt to allow this knowledge to be passed from one generation to another. The key thing here is what people have been discussing since morning, the fencing. Pastoralists, this is their way of life for more than 300 years. But now there are fences that are being erected, some they are from legislation. Government will say, no, they don't move from one country to another. You have to have a passport, for your animals. You have to have a certificate to move from one country to another. But for pastoralists, they don't know geographical demarcation. If there's a river, you can't say this river is passing from Bolivia, maybe say into Brazil, and you want to say that the water that is flowing inside the river must have a certificate. No, it's a resource. So we feel livestock also is a resource, and it should be allowed to move from one geographical area to the other. And the other one is, like many people are talking about, the extractive industries. Government will give them licenses, they will find where livestock are surviving, they will allocate it to companies, and they will be opening all the places, and they don't even cover it, they don't do anything. And animals cannot survive there, livestock cannot survive. And you see, even the highways now in Africa, they are constructed on livestock routes because it's older than the cities, it's older than the development projects, the airports, the universities, everything. They are being constructed on livestock paths, and it's a problem. And we always find ourselves talking and eating and dining and saying, okay, we are trying to help the local communities. But the reality on the ground is quite different, and it's unfortunate that for all this while, pastoralists, especially those from West Africa, we'll be looking for an opportunity to make our voices known to the world that this is what is happening. And we know it's not an isolated case. You go to East Africa, it's the same. You go to even the North Africa, it's the same. Even here, if you have livestock, you face the same problem. The reindeer people we've been discussing this morning, the same is almost the same scenario. But why are we not valuing this knowledge? And we feel this is like the topmost platform that you can make your voices, known, and then maybe it can be synthesized and be taken to the people that are at the helm of affairs. Maybe they can also understand that this is the predicament of the pastoralists globally. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please take the floor.
Buenas tardes con todos y todas. Mi nombre es Diana Chávez, soy de
Good
Ecuador.
afternoon, everyone. My name is Diana Chavez. I am from Ecuador, from the Quichua de Pastaza nationality. I come from the Amazon. I would like to first echo the words of my colleague from Guatemala and reiterate that it is important that the representatives that will be participating, we call them the wise people, the people that are knowledge holders, are working in a two-person rule, men and women, so that they can impart that knowledge with gender balance. And I would like to reiterate the subject of ancestral knowledge protection and to ensure that these voices are heard in all possible spaces. One of the workshops from previous days heard the suggestion of creating a commission, probably an observatory to be established to monitor this. I would like to also recommend that there is an existence of WIPO. There's a platform that has protocols or that already exist, and there's a fellowship for indigenous people, because I think that we need to make this binding. This is an international organization working with several countries, and maybe we can review their work and use it as a foundation and also make recommendations for their work. In their website, we can see that there's a lot of material on which they have made progress that could serve for us as a foundation. And I hope that I am wrong, because I want to emphasize or highlight that the last two events related to the topic of the seventh generations cannot only be an intergenerational exchange or only an exchange to protect ancestral knowledge. The philosophy of the seventh generations goes beyond. Maybe our brothers and sisters from North America handle that concept better, but I think that it is important for us to start working on it, translating it as indigenous peoples to have others understand it. I wanted to leave this message here, bring it to the table, because the indigenous peoples can plan. We have a long-term vision. And the most simple example is that of our brothers and sisters in Central America. There are examples in the Amazon through archaeology and satellites. They have been able to see the large constructions we had. Building a pyramid took more than 100 years, and the architect who made that pyramid did not live 100 years to continue that construction. There were people who continued with that construction. Our long-term plan as indigenous people is to conserve our territories and keep them that way forever. And I think that we should not only talk about knowledge protection and the seven generations and their international exchange, because there is something inside us that runs in our blood and is in our minds, that it is not just expressed in those two terms. There is the idea of living in our territories and preserving them and conserving them in the long term has not only served us, it serves the world. And that idea needs to be translated into examples that already exist. We can stop being here, we can leave this planet but we know that our children and grandchildren will continue the work. And why am I saying this? Give me just a few more seconds. I want everyone to understand what is happening in Ecuador. There is something that is breaking our long-term vision. It's bringing it down, our philosophy. It's the illegal mining and oil extraction. We have several needs. There's money used to there's money that is being used for governors and politicians to position themselves and to allow these illegal mining or oil companies to work as they work. And there was a demonstration to fight against these policies that our government is beating out our territories to sell our territories to the illegal miners, and they're having 3 members of our communities who were murdered. And I hope that we understand that this platform, the website that I understand belongs to the United Nations, maybe could create another board for us to denounce what happens in our territories. That is also something that I wanted to recommend. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for the final strong accord, I kindly invite you. Please take the mic.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bharati Pathak. I'm coming from Nepal. I'm working the Women's Rights and Resource Network and similarly Global Alliance of Community Forestry. I would like to thank you to all of you and the respected panel and all my colleagues also in here. This is the good opportunity to us, very participatory discussion, and like a different group discussion, and openly we can share our knowledge and experience each other. So thank you so much. I'm speaking from the community forestry mother country. You know, we have more than 23,000 community forest users group in Nepal. And the 1/3 country people directly involved in the management of the community forestry. So I'm raising the voice in here. You know, we made policies for the community forestry and continue dialogue and the discourse with the government and established to the 50% women mandatory for the each community forest users group. And there is the forest management practice of the participatory process, collective effort, not like individually. So that is the best example for the Nepal, like a local community manage the forest. There is the indigenous people also. There is the women also. Like here is the Latin America, South America, and Africa, and the Asia, and all region, there is the local community and indigenous people also protecting the forest and natural resource. I have some queries. So there is a huge knowledge. They are contributing to the 1/3 people in the natural resource management, unpaid, no paid, totally volunteer, but not any recognition, no record system for the unpaid contribution. That is a very serious issue. We are raising that voice, like similarly local community, indigenous people, and women, all are working the non-paid work in the grassroots level and protecting the forest. But they are facing the huge challenge, directly impact with them, like a climate change. They are victim, like especially focused to the women. They goes to the bring water very far area, and some women are in the pregnant. They are like too much, that types of the huge cases in the forest sector, in natural resource also. So I'm sharing here, I want to expect to this respected platform, we are IPLC platform here, we are going to the very near in the COP, there will be like many negotiation and declaration will become there. How we can support to them like a local community, women and indigenous people who has contributing still now. They have a future. So no more support to them. Like they have a traditional knowledge, they have a non-timber forest product, and they have a medicinal like a knowledge with them. So how can we contribute to the economic part? How can we linkage with the economic part and the leadership with them? So that is the issues. No more access for the finance for the local communities and the village level people. So I know I'm working since 26 years in community forestry movement and the women's rights movement. But climate change issues only flying the globally and the national level, high level, not going to the grassroots level. There is the traditional knowledge, there is the owner, like a community level. But no more localization about these issues. How is the declaration for the global level climate conference? And no more translation. Problem for the language in the grassroots level. No more idea for the women. They goes to in the forest sector, they are protecting the forest, water and land. What is the benefit for the local community and indigenous people? So need to recognize, need to give a space for the local community, need to for active participation and discussion, recognize the voice for the policy making process and documentation in the local community, because local community is too much behind. They are also victim, they are also affected from the climate change. So I'm raising this voice. I think maybe all respected people also raising the same voice. I'm working in the like a delegated grant mechanism, women's network, like a WIXA network, and Cecilia and other colleagues also in here. We are raising the voice for the globally, how can we secure the rights for the women in the like a globally and national level. Thank you very much giving this opportunity.
Thank you very much. So now we will, like Ludwig van Beethoven in Symphony No. 6, have extra final chord.
Добрый день, друзья. Я приехала издалека. Мой народ самый маленький.
Hello, my friends. My people is very small. We are around 600 people on Taimyr in the Russian Federation. And I thank this Earth for accepting us. I am grateful to all the representatives here. You are the warriors who preserve our Earth, our planet. And I'd like to share my experience, my knowledge. On the 11th of November, I will make a 1-hour presentation, and I will get you acquainted with my work, how I live on my territory, how I fight against industrial companies on our territories. We will not be broken. I am for the first time here, and I see that we can do a lot of things. And by preserving our people, we are preserving our cultural identity. And also, my people, by involving our youth, we will keep on struggling for a long time. Thank you very much.
Виктория, спасибо большое за твое выступление. Я также
Thank you, Victoria, for your speech. I also thank everyone who made a long distance here during several days, more than 6 changes in their planes. And as has been said, each one of you is a warrior for the rights of your peoples.
So let me invite all FWG members to take a seat in this area. You know, during these 3 days, we dream on sitting in the audience. I guess that it's one of the most comfortable space for making group photo for the history of, for the whole history of the local communities indigenous people platform. Janine, I have space for you, place for you.
Everybody that's connected online, please turn on your camera to appear in the photo as well. Todos que están virtualmente también pueden abrir su cámara, así pueden salir en la foto. Todos que estão online também podem abrir a sua câmera.
Please choose your words. You can say LCIPP or FWG, Açaí, Obrigado.
Even the interpreters can open your camera also. Thank you.
So let's make those round like a mouth of person with all healthy teeth, without any empty space.
Okay, everybody in the middle of the stage, todos ao centro del palco no, de la plateia. Demarcação. Vamos lá, parentada. Vocês que puxam aí hoje. All right? Todo listo? Todos bien? 1, 2, 3. Vamos lá. Demarcação. O futuro. Sangue indígena.
The future. Indigenous blood. FWG, Belém, in Pará.
Thank you very much. Especially, I express the biggest gratitude to those who have listened intervention from the rest and participants till the end and didn't leave this space. This is also some kind of respect. Please be back on time. We will resume our meeting at 2, and this will be a very interesting agenda item on how we can participate in COP30 events.
O almoço volta às 14h.
We'll be back at 2 p.m. after lunch.
FWG as fotos, aí eles mandam. Tem que pedir para eles. É difícil sair em fotos.
leave the room. No, Hindu, I'm counting the minutes. I'm counting the minutes. Please, we would also like to go to lunch, and so we cannot proceed until everyone leaves the room.
It's a good way to end the week.
We also deserve to eat. Thank you. We will resume at 2 p.m. Thank you, thank you. Okay, can we pull up the language now, please? Can you please pull up the language on the screens? Okay, so we just have to do that one more time.
We have to go through the text. Final text, right? And then later on the item 11.
Okay, can we please get it up? Is there no interpretation? Oh, can we also make sure that online any non-FWG members are not on? They're all gone? Okay. Do we have any FWG members online?
I'm online.
Aisha too. Thank you, sister.